Before we begin, I would like to invite our listeners to help support our podcast and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon of Vital Bioenergetics. By joining our Patreon, you are not only supporting the free content that we're producing, you will receive coupon codes, special offers, and inside information on the work that we're doing to help humanity raise their vibration to the next level. Please go to www.patreon.com/vitalbioenergetics and become a Patreon today. And now for today's podcast. Welcome to High Vibes. I am your host, Bill G, with co-host Nina G. At High Vibes, we're looking into what it means to be a fourth dimensional being in an ever-changing world. We hope that by listening to this podcast, you can feel a greater sense of peace and connection as we collectively raise our energetic vibration to the next level. And now for today's podcast. Hello and welcome to High Vibes. I'm Bill G and I'm here solo today with your weekly upgrade in frequency work. So this is something that we started last week where we are doing an Akashic dowsing, which is raising your vibration to the next level based on whatever it is that comes up on the pendulum. So just so you know, a frequency upgrade is a form of Akashic dowsing that exists outside of space-time, so that anyone listening to this upgrade will receive its benefits no matter where or when you choose to listen to it. How this works is that just before the podcast, I douse the program or condition that High Self decides our listeners need to hear right at that moment. Then I discuss and provide you with some interpretation of what we believe that High Self is trying to say, and then I lead you through a brief guided meditation where we do the clearing work. So the theme for this week is clearing push factors. And this came up as a rather interesting thing because lately we've been doing a lot of meditation and work on trying to figure out and listen to our inner instruction. And your inner instruction is what guides you within the etheric plane, within that action plane, to make things different, to create a situation in your life where you are guiding towards your highest, best destiny or into that fourth density expansion existence. And so that was the overall intention here because, quite frankly, it's really hard for us to say, okay, I'm going to be doing some meditation now, or I'm going to be clearing out some of my old programs and beliefs and whatever. And then it's like, well, what now? What is my next action step? Now, if you listen to a lot of your negative programming or you listen to news or stuff that's going to lower your vibration, then you're going to be operating from a low vibration fear stance, and then you're going to end up making decisions that might not be in your best interest. What we want is we want to draw into our conscious awareness those neutral events and synchronicities that are going to point us into those action steps that will allow us to be better, more productive people within this fourth density being. So when I did the dowsing, we came up with the SRT charts, Standard Protocol. We went to the Twin Flame Within Restructuring Protocol. And we then finished off with the Abraham-Hicks Emotional Scale for those who are interested in the law of attraction. Okay, so the SRT chart standard protocol. What I mean by a standard protocol is this: if you are going to take the SRT training with a certified SRT teacher, this is the protocol that they're going to be teaching you. So how it works is we go to the first chart, which has all of the charts listed on it, and we choose a chart, and then we go to the emotional aspect of it, what is holding that program into place. And then the protocol is that you clear it. Well, we're doing this right now for information purposes. This is just one component to this overall program that we want to clear. So the chart that we were guided to is chart number 16, and that's called Fall of Consciousness. And the item on the chart is Cast Out of Heaven. And then from there, we're going to move on to chart 6A, which is Discordant Energies. And what came up were 3 discordant energies, and they consisted of doubt, terror, and hate of life. So what does all this mean here? Robert Detzler, who is the author of the SRT charts, was a unity minister. So he approached his connection to high self from a Judeo-Christian perspective, which is understandable. So when he's talking about separation from source or separation from the creator, he was immediately reminded of the book of Genesis. And the book of Genesis, it talks about how the mankind or the angels and whatever were one with God, and they were cast away. There was a breaking away from source energy in order for people to have an incarnational life experience. So there's immediately this sense of separation that I am now a victim of my circumstances because there is something inherently wrong with me, that God doesn't love me as much as that I thought God may have loved me, or that I need to repair flaws within my programming in order to be one with the Creator once again. What enforces this is the sense of doubt. Doubt can be, I doubt that I am worthy. I doubt that heaven even exists, that there is anything better than this catalyst-driven existence here in third density. There's terror. Because especially within the Old Testament, there's a lot of negative programming in there, the thou shalt nots, within the text of there. So there's always this sense that I am not just unworthy, but that if I fail in some way in the eyes of the Creator, that I am going to be punished somehow. And then finally we have hate of life, which is, I mean, you got to face it, that this third density experience a lot of time really, really sucks. Because, we've got pain, we've got heartbreak, we've got physical pain, we've got jobs we hate, we've got relationships that don't work out. It's hard. It's extremely hard. And to then throw on this whole idea that I am looking for my best, most creative life within this mishmash of horribleness, that's really hard. So it's easier just to hate my life and assume that I'm just going to take as much as I can for myself and forget about everything else and just move on from there. So that was the SRT giving us of the first part of this puzzle. The next part of the puzzle comes from the Twin Flame Within Restructuring. Twin Flame Within Restructuring is a protocol that Nina and I developed that combined the concepts of Chinese cosmology as described by Mikio Sankey in his 7-volume set on esoteric acupuncture, and again using the SRT charts to provide some further meaning or further context within it. Within Chinese cosmology, there are 7 planes of understanding, or 7 soul planes, what he calls soul planes. The lowest one is the etheric plane, and that one's the one that's based in the physical. That is your connection to the physical plane. It's also considered the plane of action. And the highest is the logoic, and the logoic is your ultimate connection to source. You are connected and you're back to Creator and everything's all hunky-dory. So what came up in this reading was in the etheric plane, and 3 items came up within the etheric plane, which I think is going to provide us with some interesting insight. The first one, overthinking of memories causing dysfunction of spirit. The second one, multiple past life influences and program interferences need clearing. And the last one, hate exists within programs that exist but cannot be seen. So what is this telling us? Number one, we have overthinking of memories causing dysfunction of spirit, which correlates wonderfully with this first, the SRT Standard Protocol. Because again, it's talking about our existence within this physical plane where we are constantly overthinking every mistake we've ever made in our lives. We overthink our decisions. We think to ourselves, or we get an inspiration of, hey, maybe I should change a job or change a career or do something different in my life. And then you start to overthink it. It's like, oh man, that's going to mean I got to go to school. That means I got to go take some classes, or at the very least, I got to learn a whole new skill set. I don't know. That sounds really, really hard, and my family is going to be really upset with me because, I had this degree or I had this career, and they're going to say, what the hell are you doing? Wouldn't it be better if I just said, forget about it, and I'm just going to move on from there? That's overthinking. Overthinking your past memories. Don't do it. What you need to do is say, all right, this is what's being presented before me, and move on directly from there and not think about all of those other instances in your life when you made mistakes. Because we all are going to make mistakes. When you are presented with catalyst situations, you're going to say, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I acted on impulse. I did something and I shouldn't have done it. Well, what did you learn from that experience? How did you grow from that experience? So you go back and look at all that experience and you say, oh, wait a second. I really grew from that experience. That breakup with that girlfriend taught me that, hey, I deserve something better than what I was doing, or I was reliving some childhood trauma through my relationship. I'm not going to do that anymore. We're not talking about reliving that experience anymore. We're talking about learning and growing from that experience. But if you overthink it, if you are so afraid that you're going to be constantly reliving this bad experience over and over again, you're not going to get anywhere. The next one, multiple past life influences and program interferences that need clearing. We have been here for a very, very long time. We have been here for thousands of lifetimes in multiple dimensions that are happening simultaneously within all of existence, and all of that existence is informing your moment, your 4-second interval right now. And it can be paralyzing, petrifying to think, oh, wait a second, if I do this action that I know is right for me, it's going to be just like that time in that past life where I did something and I died, and I did something and my family rejected me, and whatever. So there's past life influences. And there's also program interferences. Soul programs are things that you have placed within your experiential path to provide catalyst to make things happen for you to overcome. Because if you don't have to overcome anything, you're not going to learn anything. But if you allow your programming, and if you allow those past life experiences to inform your present life experiences, again, you're paralyzed. You're not going anywhere. Lastly, we have here hate exists within programs that exist but cannot be seen. What we're talking about here is, again, that hate of life coming in here. That we've placed an element of low vibration energy onto our life experience to provide us with those catalysts, to provide us with that resistance, so that way we can overcome those. So when we are doing the clearing work, we are going to get rid of all of those negative influences. We're going to get rid of the doubt. We're going to get rid of the overthinking. The last chart we go to is the Abraham-Hicks Emotional Scale chart. Now, the Emotional Scale chart was actually the brainchild of my good friend Walt Thiessen, who has a podcast called the LOA Today. And so when we were talking about making charts, he thought, hey, you know, the Abraham-Hicks has this emotional scale that was written in the book Ask and It Is Given, Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And it's a 22 point scale that you want to move up that scale in order to have a better life experience. So on the very top of it, number 1 is joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. So when you have achieved that, you are able to manifest whatever it is that you desire. And on the very bottom, number 22, we have fear, grief, depression, despair, and powerlessness. And that's when you are feeling so out of control of your life that you are just constantly the victim, and what you are attracting to you in terms of the law of attraction is everything bad that's happening to you. And you just get more and more and more of that. So what came up in the dowsing here was number 13, which is doubt. And that's more on the low vibration scale. And it correlates, again, with what we did with the SRT charts, because doubt was another one of those things that came up. And again, what is doubt? Doubt is, I am thinking that this third density experience, this drudgery, this fear, this what's happening in the world right now is so low vibration, and I cannot even conceive of a love, light body experience. And so if that's your experience, that you're doubting whether or not anyone's going to learn anything from this whole madness that we experience every day, that it's doubtful that mankind can ever get beyond all of their petty differences and politics and all this third density garbage that we got to deal with, then you are experiencing this doubt vibration. And when you're in doubt, nothing's going to happen for you. You're just going to remain still. I mean, you're not necessarily going to be attracting terrible things in your life, but you're not going to be attracting any good stuff either. You're just going to be frozen in that state. So what do we do about it? So I'm going to take my pendulum now, and we're going to bring into conscious awareness what we have discovered here from this dowsing, and we're going to integrate it into your conscious mind so that we can clear the negative influences and embrace those positive influences. In other words, we're going to take away those push factors, that things that are making you a victim in your life, and instead we're going to initiate pull factors. We're going to pull or bring in those things, those synchronicities, those neutral events that are going to create for you a life experience that you cannot even possibly imagine right now. So, take a moment if you can, close your eyes if you can, and just imagine yourself floating in a pool of emptiness. Feel your body. Take stock of the sensations within your body, your breathing, the tingling on the tips of your fingers or on the tips of your toes as you connect into the earth, and the tingling on the crown of your head as you connect to Source. And with our intention and with our connection to High Self, we are going to bring into our conscious awareness the fact that we are feeling alone in the universe, that this is part of the divine plan, but it's frightening. We understand that being lost and alone and not knowing what to do is a terrifying experience. We are also bringing into conscious awareness that we have a tendency to overthink everything. Our memories, our families, what they say to us, our genetics, everything. And that this is being fueled by our multiple past life experiences, that everything that has happened before just reinforces and reinforces. And this makes life here in third density so difficult and so painful, and makes us doubt that anything better exists. And we're going to take that idea and we're going to throw it into the holy fire and allow it to burn away. And as you see it burn away, you can feel a sense of light and love permeate every cell of your body, bringing into your conscious awareness every node of possibility to bring you closer to love and light that you can possibly imagine. Burning away is all of the doubt, and what is being replaced is knowledge and confidence and self-realization. So that when life is presenting you with an opportunity to learn, to practice, that instead of choosing your past experiences and the restrictions that you have placed on yourself in third density, you are going to instead choose something different. I'm going to share with you right now an opportunity where this had actually presented itself to me just yesterday. As some of you know, that I live with my mother-in-law, and she suffers from a mental thing because she's getting older, and we're her full-time caregivers, and she was having a difficult time with one of her friends. She was getting kind of paranoid. She felt like her friend was kind of stalking her and whatever. So she was telling me about this, and as she was telling me about this, I was getting kind of agitated, and I was feeling like, oh no, this is my responsibility. I have to take care of her. I need to make sure that she feels safe. This was my opportunity. This was a neutral event or synchronicity that was being presented to me to allow me to practice. And at first, I have to admit, I went right to my overthinking. I went right to my past life influences and my hate of life and whatever. Oh, people are crazy, and oh my gosh, I got to protect people and protect them from the world and whatever, because this is terrible. And so I was like, oh, I got to take care of this. I have to do something to make my mother-in-law feel safe. And so, I went to Nina, and we talked about it, for a few hours, and we were talking about what we should be doing or what we shouldn't be doing. And she pointed out to me, like, here is your opportunity to practice. What does your slave self, or what does your old self, your programming, telling you how you should react to this situation? And I said, well, my programming says that I need to follow a certain protocol, or I need to make sure that everybody is safe. And she said, okay, now do the opposite. And I was like, okay, well, what's the opposite of taking responsibility for other people's illnesses or other people's stuff that they're going through? Well, the opposite is just to allow things to fall where it falls, and allow and invite in love and light to allow for the situation to resolve peacefully on its own. Rather than trying to control the situation, I am allowing the situation to resolve simply on its own. And so, we went to bed at that point. And this morning, the daughter of the person who was involved in this altercation with my mother-in-law calls me up and said, hey, we really need to talk about what happened, the other day, because this is really disturbing. And so I was able to talk to this person this morning and explain to them the situation, explain to them, there's nothing that anyone can do about this, and this is how it is. And we had a rational conversation about it. No one was accusing anybody of anything. And at the end of the conversation, it was like, it's okay. Everything is all right now. Nobody's been hurt. And instead of choosing to get upset and choosing to try and take control of this situation, I simply allowed it to resolve on its own. And now I'm feeling better. The person involved is feeling better. My mother-in-law is feeling better. And so now everything's okay. Those are those moments that come into your life, those neutral events that come into your life that are going to present you with those opportunities to choose. Am I going to follow my programming and I'm going to allow life to push me along? Or am I going to pull in love and light and allow life to unfold the way it needs to unfold within that love and light? So, if you would like to experience this in more detail on your own, if you have specific programming that you want to address and resolve on your own, please go to www.vitalbioenergetics.com/book online and book a free 30-minute consultation. I'll be happy to walk you through the process and how Akashic dowsing works and how it can work for you. And then we together will work to clear your programs, clear your blocks, so that you can have a better life experience. Thank you for listening today, and we will bring up another frequency upgrade next week. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. For more information about Bill and Nina G, please visit our website at www.vitalbioenergetics.com. See you next time.